committee has gone through that, our kids have to do the, I forget what it's called, but it's safe cert for cooking and culinary, and they all have to pass it. And they have to take the thing to get the credit for it again, which is a national thing. They'll be wrong answers.
That's what this show is.
They'll look over their shoulder, just when they take it, it's just the answer tells them. She's looking up the book,
No. Probably.
That's the problem. Once I start, I'm telling you, try to choose. Or a chocolate cookie almond with a piece of twister. Like chocolate cherry.
Well, that was interesting when you were checking out the world of the cash register. These colors?
She was asking about the
Because-
posters. I said,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
And she said, they are good.
Yeah,
Yeah, she said, why do you think she's buying 3 of them?
Good.
When you try those clusters over there also, sorry. You don't put any more down here. Thank you.
No, it's still doesn't need to.
They're awesome.
They don't cluster everything together.
Oh, you got some here.
Oh, here we go.
And I found this kind of like, we were came left with hands and I asked Dave or someone to get home. That last time I took some of the clusters home, when I opened my suitcase to come there, so. So I just thought, I might bring those out for you all. Those are probably pretty gross. They were in the home, but still, I smashed that suitcase and put my foot on it. Thank you for the break.
Do we want to try to break a little bit early, like about 11:30, so that we have plenty of time to keep around?
Let's rock and roll as fast as we can through these practices.
So this afternoon would be nice for teams to meet. I like how the room up next door is not being used.
That's what I said to Rose, and she said, a speech interesting thing that maybe they start at noon.
It is, I did get a message from Marlene that said that there's a meeting over here later today.
Okay.
So where did this, so this language that's on the K5 document, and N is where they have it, I think it's the N, yes. Starts with standards for mathematics practice, describe ways in which developing student practitioners, blah, blah, blah. So that's what we're talking about now, right? And the question pending was, if that goes in here and there's nowhere, and I think a few have said that the end does not seem like the right place.
It seems disjointed to me.
So, and I don't disagree with that piece. I mean, down at the end seems like for sure the wrong place for it to be, and I'm not sure exactly where it does go yet, but, so, now where did this come from?
I think that's from adding it up. Because when they, in that paragraph that we just kind of took all the parentheses out of, it says, the first of these are things to be in processing, problem solving, and that's the list they have. And the second are the strands of mathematical proficiency specified in NCR's report adding them up. But I guess that's what they have there. I'm not sure, but it looks like it's taken directly from something to me.
Yeah, but then,
Yes, we probably need to attribute it. So that's one thing.
It is, I think, from the Common Core document.
yeah,
That's where it comes from. It is from the Common Core document, the standard mathematical practice.
It's the
Because
same.
I looked it up, and they have exactly what's in those parentheses there as well. So, and I think removing the parentheses, I think adding 3 in parentheses and not all of them just adds.
so this connecting thing is from Common Core.
Yeah. It is not, obviously not all of it, but I think it starts,
You're talking about the top part too, correct?
Oh, you're talking about, well, connecting methods to standards, okay.
That comes directly from Common Core. I pulled it up. I put that into Google Doc and it comes up from, standards for mapping out processes.
And I think-
Standards.org.
Thank you. And they do have it down through the practices, I'm gonna say that.
Well, I think if you put it before, it doesn't fit there either.
And this say they put the domain file at the end. I mean, I see the practices, I see those paragraphs, and then I see it followed by the domain.
To me, it would make more sense at the start, the paragraph talking about the standards or that content, and then that one paragraph is about the standards or content, and then it moves into the practices. To me, it would make more sense to say connecting with standards or mathematical content to the standards for mathematical practice. You're starting with content and moving to practices rather than putting it after the practices. Which is really what we did in Bob's original sentence. So, I don't think we do that.
I could see taking that second paragraph and saying it's from mathematical content, putting that further closer to where we actually get to the standards themselves. And just keep the part about mathematical practices together.
And then use the first paragraph as an introduction to the standards of practice. Or part of our introduction.
Actually, we kind of say what that first sentence says, I think we say it's a little bit better actually, and then that second under designers, says designers of curricular assessment, professional, yada, yada. But that, the very bottom is like a footnote at the end of the practices to say, for the rest of you.
My philosophy, in general is, keep it simple and say it over and over, and I think they have them say it over and over, but I'm not sure they're keeping it simple, so.
And I know this is going backwards, but did we decide, and I'm not sure that we did, or we did, I missed it, when we have the standards, the practices or the processes, are we going to leave it as A, B, C, D, E, all the goals, goals?
All these are goals.
So I want to make sure, because I think we'll leave for sure to set that, so, well, let's just put those A, B, C.
Okay, I have a semi-political question. When we thought that came from adding it up, we were going to make sure that we referenced adding it up. Are people comfortable with saying it came from become production? I am, but I was never opposed to it, so I think we need to discuss that.
You agreed for keeping it there.
What?
We've been decided we're keeping it in.
Well, we had before we realized it
We
came
just
from
haven't
Common Core.
decided which place to put it, or where to put it, when it's like it's.
Yeah, I guess, I was the one who said, if it comes from adding it up, then we need attribution. If it comes from Common Core, so we were 85% of standards critical writing, so, I don't think you need attribution if that's where it comes from.
In documents that I have seen that have taken this out, they just make reference to the pages that it comes from. But we did adapt it and change it from what was there, because it's precisely what's from there. So by us taking out Karen Douglas, we have slightly modified and changed it.
But we didn't take out the very ones. We did change the name, and now we.
Right.
We
Right.
did.
And I don't really care what we do, I just want to make sure that we're aware of what we're doing and we're trained.
Well, I guess the way
But you did exactly, but yeah, you got to reference where it came from. And I think it says what we wanted to say. I think it says the thing, so.
That's the essay, types a few lines in Google, it comes up, this is from that document, this is from that document, and what the heck, you know? And I don't know, and that's what kind of bothers me with a lot of these chunks.
And I think we should reference where it was pulled from.
And especially even if you've got more than a few words out there, it's like even if it's a sentence. I mean, a student couldn't put this in their essay and turn it in and ask the course to fail.
It's just that, and for me, it's just to make sure that we're being transparent.
But I think it is clear writing, and I think it's important what it said, it's just that anything that's chunked from somewhere else.
So that we're keeping it from that perspective. If we reference it, how will we do that but we're gonna remove what's in parentheses, comprehension of mathematical concepts. It's not incorrect, but it's.
Well, you're taking the whole thing out of the fact that you're fools with society.
So it just
You know.
how we would reference it.
So I don't know, I mean, I'm not the English teacher that goes the APA way you do that, and somehow it seems like you would cite it, you just.
I think we've got to cite the source.
Right now, I just am not sure that every time you do this, you have to cite it, like, you know, you can say, you know, if I said something, say, minus carbon 7, or page I have from a list of works that.
So when we're looking at worksheets, yeah, and since we use the Common Core, we did look at that, we did read that, do we need to reference there? I mean, I just want to make sure.
I don't know, I mean, I know this is not a composition, I'm trying to use my emotions,
We state-
but it just seems like anywhere when you're citing somebody else's work, and obviously they're making a different document, I'm just saying you would attribute that to where you got it.
We stated at the very beginning all the documents we use.
Yeah.
But I think using something is a lot different than copying out of it, you know?
Yes.
And to me, that's just real suspect, I don't know.
For that matter, we did the same thing where we got this suspension of mathematical practices. So, I mean, I think we can go full crazy here. I think we acknowledge at the beginning where we got those things from. I think in
I'm just not sure.
in the second paragraph,
I've never worked with this capacity on something.
in the paragraph where we took out the parentheses, telling me quote anything, because we did quote adding it up, which is where those things came from. I think they were also in here, but they quoted it back it up. The last paragraphs, although I think they're very good paragraphs, I think we could say our own thing here in a shorter way.
Yes.
Mom will rerun.
No, I'm not saying that. I mean, if you look at what those three paragraphs are saying, they are saying the same thing over and over again in different ways.
They are.
Basically saying what we kind of said very quickly at the top, which is, we want to emphasize these practices, and that if they're not implemented if the content is not implemented with the practices, and your success is minimal in terms of power for students. I mean, essentially that's what it's saying, is connecting with, and that gets a little more into procedural versus, but I'm not sure we need them that much, is what I'm saying.
More people will read it.
Yes.
It's there, and if it's shorter, and if you're being shot around a whole bunch of different places, then you're just gonna be frustrated, and you're gonna say, you know what, I'm not doing it.
And said, I just don't know where we want to put it,
Um,
where it goes.
I don't know if I do either, but that word is used more in the content standards than it is in the practices, and so maybe it could go there, and I'm very reluctant to suggest a footnote, but
Julie, you said that word, and I missed what.
Fluency.
fluency,
And that's used much more so in elementary, it's not really used in secondary.
yeah, I mean, I can see why they would want to take a shot against high pressure kind of stuff. I get some calcium and I'm sure we could, but, you know, we probably don't need that, you know, I'm not opposed to inserting documents here and there when they're needed, but we probably don't need it, and I don't know where that sentence goes, but I feel like the practices is not where it goes. I agree.
I mean, again, if we go with less is more, if you really look at the mathematical practices, you get the idea that it's about conceptual understanding as opposed to organization. So I'm not sure we need it, but we talked about it, so I want to make sure.
Well, I think it's okay, you know, and if K-5, they want to keep it, I can see where they would want it, so.
That could be where the introduction to theirs might be slightly different than what it may be looking, like in high school, we're looking at different ways that people prove things, and why do they do this approach? Would it be more efficient if they did this way? Not necessarily on critiquing yours, but looking at different proofs, looking at different reasoning processes. I even learned at the one of the board critiquing me, you know, of what I'm doing. One of the best things I ever had is when I did a proof of trick that I was really proud of because I ended up before watching class. It's teaching me. It took me 12 steps and I was, yes, I got it. And then he looked at it and said, can't you do it in 3? And I go, yeah, you're right. And you know, and it was great. They were really looking at my reasoning process, and they were thinking about a different approach to doing it, putting out different work, having kids look at would it be more efficient if we did things this way, or here's another approach.
Yes, it's about moving students to explain themselves, and to critiquing is where it's not just, okay, this person says this, teacher says right.
Right.
You know, the teacher is not the stamper of right and wrong. We're all thinking about what's going on. So it's really about students being involved in critiquing in terms of, and yeah, I mean, the whole thing about students putting down other students is true in every middle school classroom, whatever you do. So you got to deal with that all the time. High school too.
A lot of it's with your classroom assignment,
So,
and, you know, you're gonna be respectful, and so they have different
Discussion.
opinions, and you're.
It could be done well, or it could be done.
oh,
Well,
yeah.
but
What I'm
it's
saying is,
not
even if
like-
you're not trying to do it, that's going to happen anyway. Students in middle school and high school like to each other, so you have to deal with that. Every classroom.
We sometimes will say, you know, some random student, work it out this way, what do you know, what did they do wrong, and, or did they do anything wrong, or what would you intend differently, things like that. But we also talk about how did you do it, and there's ways that, you know, I might teach a kid a certain way to do a concept, and then somebody else says, well, I did it this way, and that's perfect, and it makes sense to that kid that did it when I got it. And it's just all about communicating their ideas and thinking, does that really make sense, and why did we do it, and all of that.
And one of the things they really do is they really started in elementary school and build on it is like what they call number talks in elementary school, where they put problems up in the weekend at secondary, put problems up, how did you see to approach this problem? When kids will talk about through their process, what they like, here I have this array, I want you without counting to tell me how many dots are in this circle, and they talk about how they group it, every kid looks at it differently, and they learn from each other. But it's about developing those, what she's talking about, your management skills and your safety procedures within your classroom, that everybody's opinion is valuable. That they learn so much more from other kids than they do from us. That if teachers that don't do that are really missing the boat with kids.
I think what, and I kind of did from one of our social studies teachers, who I think is just awesome, says, you know, many things that kids think you have to do are write, speak, you know, and present, you know, and I think that, you know, that's, I sort of get the idea that when you critique the reasoning about it, all of us can remember, like still existing, you know, problems in books where they say, you know, Susie did the problem this way, you know, is she right, or, you know, and they'll do problems like that, and I think those are pretty limited, and yeah, maybe something's just not okay, but what I would do is, you know, I mean, I want kids to, you know, compare different strategies, and even go so far as to say, you know, when you might make one choice versus another. So I don't know, I don't necessarily like the word critique in there, because it does have a very slight negative connotation. But in the bullets, I think we do present it in a more positive way, so.
Sometimes two different techniques both result in solving the problem. You can say this one works more efficient.
So, and efficiency is not always the
Right.
most important thing, yeah, so you want that to be, you want them to start
So
thinking
critiquing
about
to
that.
me is about, you know, I'm going to solve this quadratic equation and I know how to factor. Is that easier than using the square? Always. You know, I mean, they both work, but
It all depends on the form you give it.
Right.
it's true. It's true.
8C.
You know, as far as the 7 and 8 stuff, we, you know, I don't know when we did this, it was March, February, winter meeting, I think. We thought, and again, this is straight from memory, but we collapsed, we gave one into 7, obviously 7C, in our draft.
I think we did that because we looked at South Carolina and that's what they had done.
Well, that may be right, because we were looking at that.
Yeah, we were looking at South Carolina, and we didn't really say that we agreed or disagreed with South Carolina. We were just looking at the way that they had done it.
And, you know, look for and express regularity in repeated reasoning. I'm not really sure I even know what that means, I want to. That was just an honest comment, and I'm not concerned about myself as being a better math student. I just don't know what it has to do.
Well, I mean, I think, I understand why it could be put under number 7. You know, because it is basically looking for structures, patterns. It's the making a generalization from seeing patterns and things, but I think it's an important enough thing to be separate to it. And I think that's the way the majority of mathematical discoveries have been made in the history of math, is that way there. Seeing things happen over and over again.
So, inductive reasoning is
Well, yeah, that's part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, even in terms of, you know, talking
In
about.
terms for like elementary kids of memorizing facts, we can show them that 2 plus 3 is and 2 plus 4 and this, you know, and then they get a pattern of that, and they look for repeated reasoning in what they're doing. When we go to, I can show you what 3 plus 4 quantity squared is, and I can show you how that expands out, and you can connect to it. And then I'm going to go to that same pattern for x plus 4, and or a plus b quantity squared. It's the same, it's using that repeated reasoning of how to get to things. Even when you're, for me, you guys were talking about abstract ideas, kind of, and how you can show things. Now, for one, that always came when we came to polynomials past the degree of 3. Up to a degree of 3, you could kind of explain to them what it looked like. But once you got past 3, you know, so if you're looking for that regularity in reasoning and using it over and over.
It has practical applications and things like, some of the classes I go to, we work with something, and then we try to say, all right, we've been doing the same process over and over. Let's open the spreadsheet and let's create a formula. We
title, do we wanna do that, or do we wanna leave it as structure, and the structure can be within the pattern? I mean, the mathematical practice is report it use of structure. And here's identifying utilized structure and patterns. Because if we leave the word pattern, and this is just a thought, if we leave the word pattern out of the title, it could be used, patterns could be used in 7, but patterns could be used in 8 as well.
I have a question about 7A. Recognize complex mathematical options. What's an option? What's a mathematical option? As being composed of more than a simple option.
I'll tell you where I use that, was in the,
Well, shapes, yes.
well, in the construction class, it's amazing to me that almost never is the house a regular shape. It's composed of regular shapes and you have to break it apart. And I'm amazed at how many houses do have trouble breaking it apart. They've been doing regular shapes for years and years.
Well, and I guess.
That's not all I mean, you can take it out of algebra.
I wasn't sure why.
They don't,
I didn't think object meant real mathematical.
right, if you go to the Common Core, I mean, 7, the description says, they can see complicated things such as some algebraic expressions as single objects, or as being composed of several objects. For example, they can see 5 minus 3 times the quantity x minus y squared as 5 plus a positive number times a squared, and you have to realize that its value cannot be more than 5 for any real numbers x and y. I mean, so yeah, they're not talking
No.
geometry objects.
They're not talking geometry. I'm just looking at objects.
Look like a miracle.
Well, I think that's why they use object, is that the expression that helps bring, and they want to do this. They try to make it as generic as possible.
Yeah.
Well, but it could even be, I think it's just a broad way of saying it.
I agree.
Well, that's a good, I think that we'll keep it at 325. That's 3 really pretty simple options put together.
Exactly.
Where places and scrambles things. I mean, that's just taking it at a very, very low level, you know, that's something complex.
I've just been looking up definitions of mathematical objects, and most of them are, is like, it can be numbers, it can be permutations, it can be matrices, it can be sets.
It could even be a probability situation.
Yeah.
An experiment.
So
For two dice is the
it's
same
like
as
a
what
big-
happens on each dice.
I guess that word object, though, I guess is not a good expression to use in this context. I mean, I think I understand what you mean, and I look at it to mean something geometric or like.
But I think that, and then I think in that before they did that with an example, that we could, I think maybe putting an example such as might be.
I don't think we want to start putting
It's
it.
not unless we do it everywhere.
I think, yeah, I think that's so big, that's why they use object.
Well, I've heard that. I guess, I don't know, that kind of instruction I've heard it in a lot of contexts. I was talking more about classes.
Would end be solved from?
Did mathematical or mathematical objects. Geometric and or algebraic.
Can I even give you more than that?
And more than that.
How much is this?
I think you can
Yes.
And that's what they, you know, I mean, they're familiar with these, that's why it would be best to really change anything, because it's what they've been basing what they've been doing all the last 3 or 4 years. So.
Well, a lot
Yeah,
of
because
people,
some synonyms for object, if you try to replace it with like sandwich.
Gizmo.
What's not called it? Yeah.
Judy.
Yeah.
Well, here's my question, do you think we can resolve this issue before lunch, or should we break for lunch, think about it?
I think we need to come back to it even if we resolve this one little thing, because I think we need the whole review and people to agree that lunch ready, okay.
and I guess I would say, just to add to what you said before, though, before we do that, a lot of people have been in communities for a lot longer than just 3 or 4 years. I mean, maybe not word for word, but, you know, in terms of the NCT and package, you know, that's, so I think they have been around long enough. You know, as long as they're interpreted in the correct way, as something that's interwoven and not, you know, today we do this, tomorrow we do that.
Well, certainly with 1 through 6, that's the case. 7 and 8 start to get much more specific.
Well, I mean, all of them to me are about the way you do mathematics and think about the numbers. They are about
Are
the
you
way.
talking about the bullet points by the way, or just the sentence or some stuff?
You know, honestly, if you look at the other ones, you could substitute anything in there besides mathematics, and it would apply to any other subject. When you get to 7 and 8, it starts to be much more
Well,
specific.
I think you can apply that to anything too, because I mean, I use these as, we talk about these in my classes for teachers. I say, you know, how do you make decisions? When you get up in the morning, you go to start the car, what do you do to fix it if it doesn't start? And what they'll say is, well, last week you did this, and the week before you did this, and I went and kicked the tire and started. It's regularity, repeated patterns, structures. I mean, you can use that, that's problem solving.
I think
Seeing things happen over and over again.
when we make those MCT and when the certain learning things, you know, we make big posters with the math practices on them, so teachers could put them in their room to constantly remind kids and themselves to get involved in. And you'd be surprised how many hundreds the science teachers want. The science teachers really like those.
I was gonna say, this fits right in science,
Yeah, repeated reasoning.
Right.
It's a scientific method.
Structures, patterns, that's what they all. So it is 11